And so
right?
when you say bring transit, you mean like they're bringing in a subway station or go train or something like that, right? It's in that line.
Well, a lot of the subway stations tend to gravitate, it seems, towards large developers or large real estate owners' properties.
Coincidentally.
Well, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah. But why is that important? So why is it that the developers want to be near transit?
Well, always you'd get more density
So they
if
can
you're near
build more.
transit,
So
right?
when
And
the transit
chances are
station's there.
you weren't in the yellow belt, right? You weren't in neighborhoods. If you were near a subway, you were in some kind of mixed use or apartment neighborhood,
Mhm.
right? So you're able to increase the use. You'd be able to maximize the use of the property, right?
Mhm.
Which
And that's coming from the provincial government.
that's coming
That's
from the
the
provincial government, sure.
the provincial
Official
policy
plans,
statement is all
sure.
part of that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Supposed to be anyways, but it feels like it's just more planners' opinions
So
based loosely on that document.
so if the transit station's there, so for example, they put in a new GO station in Bowmanville, right? But in that area, right, it's obviously got some, part of the city plan has already got the different land use designations. But a developer came in and he would say, no, 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 no. According to the higher level of government in the province, we're within so much distance of a GO station. Therefore, your site that you thought would be X could actually be 10 times more. And here's our proposal. And they'd be able to fight them a lot easier that way.
Sure.
Right. And so the city has to
It's
support it
not a
because,
fight now because now it's like, this is the plan. We want you to do it here.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fight might be over how high the building is or how wide or, where it's tiered or whatever, all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of horse shit. But like the fight isn't about increasing the density or putting more homes there, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just what does it look like?
And what is it? And how's it going to affect the community?
Well, and then that's what the city's thinking about, but the
Mm-hmm.
developer's thinking about like how do I make sure I get the amount of square footage I need for this deal to work,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm sure, some developers want to make a really nice building, but the environment doesn't really allow for that and maximizing profits. And so the margins are much lower than most people think, right? So with the margins being as low as we know they are, if you make a mistake, then you're done. So you don't really want to design things off the hop that are going to cost more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because something's going to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of things are going to go wrong and the budget's going to change. And you don't know what it looks like at the end of the day, what you're going to spend, right? It's all
Mm-hmm.
guessing. So it's like the system incentivizes you to build a really boring building,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the city chops down the amount of available possible space that you could build on that piece of land with very few good reasons. But I mean, those
But
are the
obviously
rules.
the province has to have some sort of I'm getting to something here, but the province
Oh,
obviously has to have some sort of control where the city will basically have to comply with what the developer's proposing, right?
fine.
Like because I always see them reference in their applications that it meets the provincial policy statements, guidelines for this or the greater golden horseshoe. They have all
Yeah.
those type of,
Yeah, that's like a copy and paste in every single planning opinion.
exactly.
Yeah. And
So,
well, okay, but again, so the planner that you hire, his job is to convince the higher ups that this is within that policy, right?
mhm.
But the policy's gray, and then everybody's opinion is different on how to interpret it, and so it's like, yeah, no developer is going to go like, here's why I shouldn't be able to do this, right? So you find the parts of the plan that say you can do. You ignore the parts of the plan that say maybe you can't.
Ignore those parts.
Well, I
I've never
mean,
even read those parts.
I didn't
Who would
even
want to read
realize
those
they
parts?
existed, right?
Right? I'm not
So
going to put that
so
in my report.
well, but your consultants tell you along the way that there might be some hurdles that you have to overcome. And then, this is what you do with the city. You do a little dance and hopefully you can squeeze out what you thought you could at the beginning or something relatively close, or the market takes off, or, like this is what
Mhm.
happens.
And so the people who go bankrupt, a lot of the times it's because they
Mm.
thought they could get something, or it took a lot longer. They couldn't carry the property for any longer because of maybe like they were over leveraged on it.
Or they were dumb and they bought something wrong. I mean, there's a lot of people that come in, they're like, I'm going to do this. And like, take, for example, I won't use the guy's name, big developer bought a property at Yonge and Eglinton, prominent building. Like everybody wanted to shop in this place forever. And they ended up buying it just south of Eglinton. And to the north of this property is a building that's like, I don't know, 60 stories high or like something crazy, 45 stories, right? And it was built a long time ago. But the plan says on the south side of the street, you don't get that kind of density. And so he went in there and he paid a fortune for it. And he thought he was going to get the 60 stories like the guy north of him or whatever it is, 40 stories, 42. And he got like half. But in the like 10 years he spent fighting with the city, or 8 years or whatever it was before he started selling, the prices went crazy, right? So he got half, but it ended up working out probably fine for him, right? But you don't know this. So like the rule in the industry is to like base it on today, which I think is completely asinine. But I mean, what else do you know?
Yeah.
But it's
That's
crazy.
actually, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I think that's like your part of your MO, you know, is
Yeah, I
being
don't
able
do
to
that.
like push the envelope. Because if everyone's just living in the past, we know that this site won't be actually approved for years from now, and there'll be all sorts of new precedent by then. So,
Well, but it could go one way or the other, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, as a developer, I mean, you can't plan that it's going the wrong way, because then you can't buy anything ever. So you have to kind of be like, I hope it
Gotta
goes the
happen. It's
right
gotta
way,
happen. It's gotta
man.
happen.
Right? But it's like there's reset points where, like, now, if you're buying something and you're borrowing money now, like maybe the rates will get worse, but like I don't think we're gonna have like a fucking crash again. Just could be like a prolonged, like, what the hell's going on around here? So now might be a good time, because now if you can make the numbers make sense now and you're smart and you give yourself maybe a little cushion, like rates will go up another point or something, 2 points, whatever you want to do. Like, but if you can make your safer, smarter metrics now make sense, then like, why not? Because it's later. I mean, how often has it lasted like longer than a few years? I mean, it takes even if you plan that it's going to take 2 years, it doesn't take 2 years. And if you plan it's going to take 3 years, it takes 7 years. Like, you don't know what you're going to be up against. And now what you see a lot of, which is really interesting, I don't know if we're getting towards where you're heading,
Oh, I'm
but
going.
like, people are now that had zoning are like, hold on, like the environment changed since we started this thing.
Yeah.
We're in a crisis now. All these new things are coming up, like you want to get to the build more
Yeah.
homes
Here's my
better
plans.
bullshit, right? Sorry, TK.
No,
No,
not you. I mean the developers with
no,
their
but
with their
the
zoning.
developer's like, well, you know what? They gave me 24.
Yeah.
That guy's going for like 40,
Yeah.
right? And so I may as well, right? And that you'll do a calculation. You'll be like, does it make sense to carry it for another 2 years to get another 20 stories? Fuck yeah, it does, right?